Welcome to The Political Bridge, the podcast dedicated to fostering thoughtful dialogue across the political spectrum. I'm your host, Ada, and today we're tackling a question that will undoubtedly spark considerable debate as we approach a monumental milestone in American history, the 250th anniversary of the United States. This isn't just any anniversary, it's a quarter-millennium mark, a moment for profound reflection on our nation's journey, its founding principles, and its future. The question before us is how best to commemorate this significant event. Should the 250th anniversary of the United States be celebrated primarily with a political rally designed to galvanize support for a particular vision of America and its leadership? Or should it be a non-partisan cultural event emphasizing unity, shared heritage, and artistic expression? Both approaches have their merits and their potential pitfalls. A political rally could energize a base and articulate a clear direction, but it risks alienating those who don't share that specific political viewpoint. A nonpartisan cultural event, on the other hand, could foster broad participation and a sense of collective identity, but it might be seen by some as lacking the necessary gravitas or failing to address contemporary challenges head-on. We'll explore these perspectives with our esteemed panelists. On my right, we have Nico, offering a conservative viewpoint, and on my left, Jordan, providing a progressive perspective. Nico, let's start with you. How should we commemorate this extraordinary anniversary?
Thank you, Ada. When we talk about the 250th anniversary of the United States, we are talking about celebrating the very idea of America. And frankly, the idea of America is inherently tied to its political foundations and the principles that have guided its governance. Therefore, a robust political rally, or a series of rallies, is not just appropriate, but essential. This isn't about partisan politics in the narrow sense. It's about celebrating American exceptionalism, the enduring strength of our constitutional republic, and the vision of liberty and self-governance that has inspired the world for 2.5 centuries. We should use this moment to reaffirm our commitment to limited government, individual freedom, and the capitalist system that has fostered unparalleled prosperity and innovation. A rally provides a platform for our leaders, including President Trump, to articulate a clear vision for the nation's next 250 years, grounded in these timeless principles. It allows for a powerful demonstration of national pride and unity around core American values, reminding us of the sacrifices made to secure our freedoms and the ongoing responsibility we have to uphold them. A cultural event, while pleasant, often lacks the necessary focus and gravitas to truly commemorate the political and philosophical revolution that was the American founding. It risks becoming a bland, lowest common denominator affair that avoids the very debates and ideas that define our nation. We need to inspire, to educate, and to mobilize, and a political rally, properly conceived, can achieve this by focusing on the ideals that make America great and the leadership required to maintain that greatness. It's a chance to look forward with confidence, guided by the wisdom of our past, and to reinforce the principles that have made us the freest and most prosperous nation on earth.
Nico, I respectfully disagree with the notion that a political rally is the most appropriate way to celebrate our nation's 250th anniversary. While I agree that the founding principles are important, the United States is far more than just its political structure or any single administration's agenda. It is a vibrant tapestry of cultures, histories, struggles, and triumphs. To reduce this monumental anniversary to a political rally, especially one that inevitably becomes a platform for a specific party or leader, would be a profound disservice to the vast majority of Americans and the complex narrative of our history. A nonpartisan cultural event, conversely, offers an inclusive space for all Americans to reflect on our shared journey. It can highlight the diverse contributions of all communities, indigenous peoples, immigrants from every corner of the globe, and marginalized groups who have fought tirelessly for their rights and for a more perfect union. We need to acknowledge not just the triumphs, but also the challenges and injustices that have shaped our nation, and how we've striven, however imperfectly, to overcome them. This is an opportunity for healing, for understanding, and for collective imagination about the future. Imagine events that showcase American music, art, literature, scientific innovation, and culinary traditions, reflecting the true diversity of our people. These events can foster a sense of belonging and shared identity that transcends political divides, reminding us that our strength lies in our unity and our ability to embrace our differences. A political rally, by its very nature, is exclusionary and divisive, designed to energize a base rather than unite a nation. It would only deepen the partisan chasm at a time when we desperately need to bridge it. A cultural celebration allows us to acknowledge our history in its entirety, to celebrate our progress, and to inspire future generations with a vision of an America that truly belongs to everyone.
Both of you have laid out compelling initial arguments. Nico, you emphasize the political foundations and the need for a clear vision, while Jordan, you highlight inclusivity and the diverse tapestry of American culture. My first follow-up question for both of you is this: how do you ensure that your preferred approach avoids the pitfalls you've identified in the other? Nico, how do you prevent a political rally from becoming overly partisan and alienating? And Jordan, how do you ensure a cultural event has the necessary gravitas and doesn't shy away from important national conversations?
Ada, that's a crucial question. The key to preventing a political rally from becoming overly partisan lies in its framing and its content. When I speak of a political rally, I am not envisioning a campaign event for a specific candidate or party platform in the narrow sense. Rather, I envision a national convocation focused on the foundational principles of the United States: constitutionalism, individual liberty, free markets, and national sovereignty. These are not partisan concepts. They are the bedrock of our republic. The speakers, including President Trump, would articulate a vision for America's future that is rooted in these enduring values, emphasizing the importance of civic duty, economic opportunity, and a strong national defense. This would be an opportunity to celebrate the American experiment itself, to reflect on the wisdom of the founders, and to inspire a renewed commitment to the ideals that have allowed this nation to flourish for 250 years. We can invite leaders from across the political spectrum who genuinely believe in these foundational principles to speak, ensuring a broader appeal. The focus would be on what unites us as Americans in our political philosophy rather than what divides us in contemporary policy debates. Furthermore, such an event could highlight the achievements of American governance and enterprise, from technological innovation to global leadership in promoting freedom. It would be a powerful statement to the world about the resilience and continued relevance of the American model. A cultural event, while it might appear inclusive on the surface, often struggles to articulate a cohesive message about national identity, precisely because it attempts to be everything to everyone. A political rally properly executed can provide that clear, unifying message about our shared political heritage and our collective aspirations as a free people, without devolving into narrow partisanship. It's about celebrating the American idea, not just a political party.
Nico, I appreciate your attempt to broaden the definition of a political rally, but the reality is that in our current hyper-partisan climate, any event led by a sitting president, especially President Trump, and framed around foundational principles, would inevitably be perceived and utilized as a partisan platform. The very act of choosing which foundational principles to emphasize and who gets to articulate them becomes a political act. It risks excluding vast segments of the population who feel that their experiences and interpretations of American history are not represented by a singular top-down political narrative. My vision for a nonpartisan cultural event, however, inherently addresses the need for gravitas and avoids shying away from important national conversations precisely because it embraces the full complexity of our history. Gravitas doesn't come from a singular, politically charged message, but from deep, authentic engagement with our past and present. We can ensure this by commissioning diverse artists, historians, and community leaders to curate events that explore themes like the evolution of American liberty, the struggle for equality, or innovation and adaptation in America. These themes are deeply meaningful and can be explored through art, music, theater, literature, and public forums that encourage dialogue rather than monologue. Imagine a national oral history project collecting stories from every state, or a series of documentaries exploring pivotal moments from multiple perspectives. Such events would not shy away from difficult truths: the legacy of slavery, the displacement of indigenous peoples, periods of intense social strife, but would frame them within the larger narrative of our ongoing pursuit of a more perfect union. This approach fosters a deeper, more nuanced understanding of America, celebrating our resilience and our capacity for change, rather than presenting a sanitized or politically convenient version of history. It allows for a multitude of voices and experiences to be heard, which is far more unifying and impactful than any single political message could ever be. This isn't about blandness. It's about richness, depth, and genuine inclusivity that resonates with all Americans.
Jordan, you've made a strong case for a cultural event's ability to foster inclusivity and depth. Nico, you've argued for the necessity of a political focus to celebrate America's foundational principles. For my second follow-up, let's try to steelman the other side. Nico, what is the strongest argument for why a nonpartisan cultural event might be a better choice, even from a conservative perspective? And Jordan, what is the strongest argument for why a political rally, even with its risks, might be more effective in commemorating the 250th anniversary from a progressive viewpoint?
Ada, steelmanning the argument for a nonpartisan cultural event, even from a conservative perspective, would acknowledge that such an approach could potentially reach a broader audience, including those who are politically disengaged or hold differing views. It could foster a sense of national unity by focusing on shared cultural touchstones: American music, literature, scientific achievements, and natural beauty that transcend partisan divides. From a conservative standpoint, one might argue that by avoiding overt